And welcome to Meet the VIPs. And our VIP this morning, nice to see you again, Mary Michele. It's been 2 weeks since last we saw and talked to you.
Too long, Mike.
Too long. This, what is it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's it.
Before we get to our calls, and we do have an open line at 241-1310. Tina, if you'll hold on, please, on line one. You wanted to mention Mercury for just a couple of seconds. And, I always think of Mercury as the guy with the little funny hat and the things on the back of his feet.
Well, he is. That's exactly who he is. He is also known in the Greek mythology as Hermes, and he's known to the Egyptians as Thoth, T-H-O-T-H. Anyway, the reason I wanted to talk to him about a bit today was, well, one, the moon today is in the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. And also next week we have this phenomena that comes up 3 or 4 times a year that is always a little trying. It's when the planet Mercury goes retrograde, and it will be retrograde from the 22nd of September to the 13th of October. So this is a time when it is very difficult to consolidate deals and to make things come to fruition. So the idea is, I want to give you a little warning that if you can try to wrap things up before the 22nd of September, then that period is a period that one should really look backwards and try to understand. Retrograde means backwards. You want to look backwards and see exactly what it is that you have been trying to accomplish in the last 3 months since the last time that Mercury went retrograde. Now, one of the stories that makes this interesting is that Hermes, as a baby, when he came out of his mother's stomach, his mother was Maya. She was a nymph. She was not a goddess, but he is the son of Zeus, Jupiter. And when he came out of her womb and into the world, he immediately went off and stole the cattle of his brother Apollo. Now, one of the reasons why he had trouble with Apollo was because Apollo was a full god. He was, his mother was a goddess and his father was Zeus, or Jupiter. So Hermes was always feeling a little like a second string kind of person. So what he did when he stole the cattle, which was quite clever, was he tied these enormous shoes on their feet, but they were going backwards. They were going in the wrong direction. So the person, who then came to look for the cattle couldn't find them because they were going with the shoes going backwards in the wrong direction.
Whatever you say, I'm listening and I'm trying to understand. I'll tell you what, why don't we pick up this conversation just a couple of moments away. Tina, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Tina's on the phone from Bedford Hills. Her date of birth is July 30th, 1959. Good morning, Tina. You're on with Mary Michele.
Morning, thank you. How are you?
Good morning, Tina. July 30th, 1959. Did you have a particular question?
No, just curious about health and family.
Well, you have the sun in Leo, as you know, but what's interesting is that you have the moon in Gemini, which is what I'm talking about today. So I think it's interesting that you would call today. This is what we call in astrology synchronicity. There was something that was pulling you to be interested in what was going on today. The moon in Gemini trining the sun in Leo is a very harmonious aspect. Your ability to integrate your conscious and your unconscious is, you have to work a little bit. It's a sextile, what we call a sextile in astrology, but it's very harmonious. It's air, the moon, Gemini, and fire. Then you have Mercury in Leo, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Virgo. The Venus and Mars and Virgo are the aspects of yourself that would tend to concern yourself with health issues in general. Was there something in particular with your health that you were interested in, or?
I guess an overall forecast. I mean, my health has been good.
Right. Well, I think you have a tendency towards a nervous stomach, and just kind of the nervous system in general. With Virgo energy and also the moon in Gemini, one of the things that Mercury is involved with that rules both Gemini and Virgo is the nervous system. So you want to try to do things as much as possible that will not overstimulate you, whether it's, caffeine or alcohol or cigarettes or things like that. And also when you do exercise, to perhaps try to do exercise that is not that competitive, because a certain amount of competition might also cause you to be more stressed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for
All right,
calling.
thank you for calling, Tina. Mary Michele, this is one of those weird questions that come out of nowhere, but everybody is talking about the Apollo 13 movie. And I just, I was sitting here for a second, remembering the 7 original Mercury astronauts, who were then followed by those who went into the Gemini program, and then went into the Apollo program. What significance do you place on this? Was there something that people were looking at the stars, and was that the reason, or is there some other significance that you could think of?
Well, the significance is just what you've said. The fact that you've made the correlation means that you have an imagination that works very intuitively. And that is by noticing it. And that really is what we need to do with this kind of learning. It's not necessarily about strong facts. That is a very scientific, what we call the masculine principle way of thinking. Whereas this ability to associate different ideas, this is our intuition, and we're not really taught to trust that as much as possible. But I believe that the people that got involved in these missions, the Gemini mission, Mercury, that this is all the same. We're talking about the same story, and Mercury is basically the communicator of the gods. He is the one that would go from here to the moon. So it makes a lot of sense. He has little wings on his feet. It makes a lot of sense that these names would have been chosen, although I doubt that they were chosen in a very logical, linear fashion.
Which way would you have put it, by the way, before we get to Lydia from Yorktown? Which way would you have put it? You said if it was not, or did I misunderstand what you said?
Well, what I'm saying, Mike, is that it's the associative thinking that is not necessarily factual, but is allowing yourself to take images. Okay, so the image of Apollo, you might ask somebody what that means, and if they're not particularly interested in mythology, they might not be exactly able to tell you who he was. But I would say most people would be able to say that he's associated with the sun. And it's the association of imagery that one does in astrology, and that I think people should need to learn how to do better in general, whether it's used with astrology or not.
Okay, we have an open line from Mary Michele at 241-1310. Let's say good morning now to Lydia from Yorktown Heights, watching on cable channel 12. Lydia's date of birth, August 14th, 1961. 8/14/61. Good morning, Lydia. You're on with Mary Michele.
Morning.
Good morning, Lydia. 8/14/60.
61.
Okay. Did you have a particular question?
Yes, I'm starting a new job next week, and I'd like to know if everything's going to be okay.
When are you starting it?
Next week.
Like Monday?
Tuesday.
Well, it looks to be a pretty harmonious time. The first few days before this phenomena happens, this Mercury retrograde, you'll probably feel quite at ease there. Now, as of the time that Mercury goes retrograde, you might find that there'll be a little more confusion than you anticipated. And my suggestion would be, inasmuch as you started before this happened, to try to stick it out. But there will be a period of 3 weeks there where, you might not understand, or the communication level might be a little difficult with some of the people that you're going to be working with. You're very much of a diplomat. You have the moon in Libra. So your ability to communicate with people and be diplomatic with them is quite good. So I would think that you would be able to get through this period with ease. Let's see. You have a Mercury-Sun conjunction. Your ability to think and say what you need to say is very closely connected. You work well with your mind. What kind of a job is it?
It's with a medical company.
With a medical company. Right, okay. You should have a lot of energy for doing this. You have Mars in Virgo, which is about, working in health. And Mars at the moment is in Scorpio, so that in general gives all of us, particularly with this good aspect between your Mars and the transiting Mars, a lot of energy for the work that you're going to be doing. I would say that it will go well. If there's a little bit of a glitch, just hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for calling. And we do have an open line, 241-1310, if you want to talk to Mary Michele, 17 past 9 o'clock. We're going to to get back with Mary Michele just a couple seconds away. I want to continue with this space program for a second, just after this word. Put on your top hat and tails. You're cordially invited to the Share the Light Gala Friday, September 29th at Tappan Hill, benefiting the Lighthouse of the Hudson Valley. You'll dance the night away to Lester Lannon and his orchestra. You'll dine on exquisite cuisine of Abigail Kirsch and their wonderful prizes, including a London holiday compliments of Virgin Atlantic Airways and Marriott's Hotels. To experience this fabulous evening, call the Lighthouse at 761-3221. That's 761-3221. 18 past the hour at WVIP, and welcome back to Meet the VIPs with Mary Michele. If you would like to have a question answered about astrology, what the stars are saying about your life, 241-1310, the number to call. And we were talking about the space program here, Mercury, Apollo, Gemini, and the way they came about. Obviously, the question comes up, was there something in the stars that said that Apollo 13, which ran into all that trouble, by the way, on the 13th of April, I mean, there's got to be some connection here. Was there something that said that was going to be a problem?
Do you know the year it happened?
1960... Now I have to remember. You're doing this to me, aren't you?
Well,
Let's see.
okay.
It would be 1970 because Apollo 11 landed July 29th, 1969. So it would be 1970 that they had this. It left 2 days before, so, you could figure on the 11th is when it started, and they ran into the problem on the 13th at about, 10 o'clock at night, something like that. Was there something that said that this was going to happen?
Well, the sun was in the sign of Aries. Aries in general is, the sign of Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is someone that, oftentimes will create war, and it's kind of a little, it's hard to know exactly why he does it. But when there can be too much energy behind things. There can be too much combustion. They say that a woman that has Mars in her chart in an unhealthy place may not be able to carry a child to term because the child is pushing too hard to get out. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't know that much about Apollo 13, but I think the imagery is very much, as I keep going back to, it's very connected to these ideas of the gods and these stories. And these stories are what help us to integrate our conscious and our unconscious. And the reason why we keep coming up with these names over and over again is because they represent something to us that is difficult to even verbalize.
Okay, well, I asked the question. I got an answer.
Okay.
All right, let's get back to the phones, and we have an open line at 241-1310. 914-241-1310 if you would like to talk to Mary Michele. Pat, good morning to you. You're calling from Lake Mahopac or Mahopac. I'm not sure how you would like to pronounce it. Date of birth is March 8th, 1928. 3/8/28. Pat, is it Lake Mahopac or Lake Mahopac?
I say Mahopac, but my husband says Mahopac.
You say Mahopac, I say Mahopac. We're all set. Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning. It was March what?
8th.
8th, 1928. Okay. Did you have a particular question?
No, just general.
Just general. You were born with the sun in Pisces and the moon in Libra. Mercury in Aquarius, and Mercury was just changing from retrograde to direct the day that you were born. So it might have been as an infant. I don't know whether you would remember this, but maybe someone told you that your need to communicate, or maybe you cried a little more than someone else, some other child. What is considered normal, I'm not sure, but anyway, the indication would be that for a little while when you were very young, it might have been hard to communicate, because Mercury is what we need to communicate with. I mean, it's the way in which we communicate. So when it's retrograde, it means that there's a slight difficulty with that. You have Venus in the sign of Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius. You have all these planets in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign that rules astrology. And it's the people that are forward-thinking, the people that, have ideas and work in conjunction with humanitarian purposes and things having to do with the social good of others and so on. But the problem with it is that sometimes they're ahead of their time, so they feel frustrated that, the idea they may have had last year is all of a sudden, coming to fruition this year. Did you work?
No.
No. Did you have this feeling? Did you raise children? Hello?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Did you have the feeling, that there were sometimes ideas that you had that were perhaps not in conjunction with other mothers that you knew that were raising children, and there was a feeling of, just being a little ahead of your time in your ideas of education and trying to help the children? You had this feeling?
Always.
Always. Let's see, you have Jupiter in the sign of Aries, so at the moment you should probably be feeling pretty good. The planet Jupiter is transiting in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, like your Jupiter in Aries. So you should be feeling good, both physically and also like there's not any problem with income or, financial worries or things like that. Has anything that I've said brought a question to mind, something that you would like to ask me?
It's been a difficult time because I've had children and I have quite a number of grandchildren.
Yes.
A lot of disability in the family with the children.
Yes. Well.
How do you do it? But I just do it every day.
Yes. Well, and you will continue to, and your ability to come up with new ideas all the time, your ability to feel things out and really have a strong imagination of the way to make them feel better, but also give them, possibilities. It's very, very strong. So, just keep up what you're doing, and these things will resolve themselves.
Okay, Pat, thanks so much for joining
calling
with us. Okay, we've got 3 other callers. We do have one open line now that Pat is off. Let's talk to Carol, calling from Brewster. Carol is listening on the radio to AM 1310. Date of birth, September 15th, 1941. September 15, 1941. And by the way, if Anna and also Mary will continue to hold, we will get to you. Good morning, Carol. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Carol. September 15th, 1941.
Yes.
Yes. Did you have a particular question?
I was wondering what the next year holds for me in regard to my job.
What about your job? Was there a particular question about your job?
Yes. Actually, I went to school for one thing, had a license in another area for...
You went to school to learn something in particular?
Yes.
Was it an office job that you were looking for, that you were learning something about?
No.
No. Could I ask what it was?
Nails.
Nails. Okay. You have, the sun in Virgo, the moon in Cancer, Mercury in Libra, Venus in Libra. The sign of Libra with the Mercury and the Venus, it's the sign of working with things of having to do with beauty. So, it's very harmonious with what you're interested in doing here. And I would imagine with the sun in Virgo that you're very detailed about what you do and that there would be kind of a lot of help with this. You have the moon in Cancer, so you like to take care of people, and the nature of beauty parlors to me is kind of like it's one of those social situations where you listen to people and you take care of them and you nurture them. So your ability to do that is very strong with the moon in Cancer. I would imagine people would come back to you with consistency. So if you're thinking of doing this, you haven't started yet?
Oh, I have, but because of I've gotten busy in my other field again.
And what is that?
So I was just wondering, headed.
Carol, what is the field that you got into other than what you started out with?
Well, I started out in real estate, and then I took classes in
The beauty things. Are you asking whether you should stay with one or the other, or try to do both?
If I should stay with one or the other.
It would seem to me that there will be more consistency, and you will, in the long run, feel more secure in doing the things having to do with the beauty schools and so on. This is real estate is something that comes and goes and doesn't give you a feeling of strong security. So that would be my suggestion. Thanks so much for calling.
Okay, Carol, thanks so much. You ready to take another call? You want to take a break for a second?
No, I can take another call.
Okay, Anna is on. She is on line 3. So let's get to Anna. Anna is watching on cable channel 12. Her date of birth is January 16th, 1968. Good morning, Anna. You're on with Mary Michele.
Morning. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
I also have a question about career. And I'd like to go back to school, and I'm not exactly sure which direction to go in.
All right. I'm sorry. 1968 I got. What was the first part?
January 16th.
January 16th. Okay. The sun in Capricorn. 16th. The moon in Leo. Mercury in Aquarius, Venus in Sag. Well, your chart is kind of, you've got a lot of different things going on here. Were you interested in doing something? Well, tell me a little what you were interested in doing.
Well, originally, before I had my child, I was interested in going to law school, and now I'm thinking about speech therapy, but my ultimate dream was law school. The thing that makes you want to deal with law is Venus. You have the planet Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign that rules the law and, justice in life in general. But I think with this Mercury in Aquarius, you would probably want to change the legal system probably somehow. And I don't think that is, that's kind of a lot to take on. I would continue to go to school and try and find something that you have so many talents, but I think that the law might be something that you would eventually find a little difficult. All right.
Okay. Thanks so much for calling.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to get to Mary, who is holding on line 4, to Linda, who is on line 1, and whoever is on line 5. A couple seconds away. We have to take a break now. We will be back momentarily with Mary Michele on WVIP.
This fall, why not gain the experience you need to be competitive in today's job market? College internships are one way to improve your resume and make your inevitable job search an easier one. This upcoming fall, WVIP TV will be accepting applications for internships. You can gain experience in news, video production, programming, promotions, and public relations. Intern applicants do not necessarily have to be broadcast communication or journalism majors. WVIP TV seeks to offer its interns intense, hands-on experience in all aspects of a working cable station. So call WVIP TV today and find out if an internship in television is right for you. Students must meet certain requirements and college credit may be available. Call 914-241-1310 for more information. That number once again, 914-241-1310.
All right, let's get back now with Mary Michele. Good morning, everyone. This is Meet the VIPs. Mary Michele is with us. We do have one open line now at 241-1310. Let's get to Mary, who is watching on Channel 12 in Mount Kisco. Date of birth, May 3rd, 1934. Good morning, Mary. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Mary.
Morning, Mary. How are you?
Good. Did you have a particular question for me?
Well, it sounds like we're all about our careers. I just want to know what the next work year is going to be like.
Okay. You should have had an indication in the last week or so of how things were going. Was there something in particular that happened maybe Wednesday or Thursday of this week?
No, nothing in particular.
Nothing in particular. Well, it's a very good time for you right now to try to work out these issues that you have around your career. You have the Sun in Taurus and Mercury in Taurus and Mars in Taurus.
there's a very, very strong indication here of someone that likes to work and likes to work hard and definitely likes to make money. Money is something that's important, and you enjoy what it brings, beautiful things and tangible things and good things to eat and all that kind of thing. You have the moon in Sagittarius, so the longing there is that you might want to philosophize about things. And the indication also is that your mother might have been someone that taught you to go for distance horizons and to look for new things. And was your mother involved in teaching or anything like that?
No.
No. But was she someone that you found kind of inspirational?
In every way.
Yeah. All right. Well, in terms of career, you have Venus in Pisces, and right now Saturn, the planet Saturn, is going over that. So it's not a hard time to do. It's not an easy time for you to do what you love. You might be experiencing until the month of April in 1996, a little frustrations with trying to find what you love to do and be able to make money at it as well. But the indication after that is very, very good to stay with that, stay with what you love. All these planets in Taurus ruled by the planet Venus means that you need to love what you do.
I do. I have no problem with the job, but I just want to know how secure it was, and how for the next year at least.
Mary, may I ask what you do for a living?
I'm in prison.
You're in prison?
Yes, I'm a nurse.
Oh, you're a nurse in prison. Well, in terms of...
I'm an RN.
Yeah. You're an RN. Okay, well, with Venus in Pisces, okay, Pisces is about, being a nurse and so on. You're not going to feel secure until April of next year. I think the odds are there probably won't be a shift, but you might feel like there will be. And then after that time, you'll feel more secure about it and things will go on. And if there is a shift, don't worry about it. It'll come back. You'll get that feeling of security again. It's not something that's going to be away from you for very long.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
thanks for
thank
calling.
you, Mary. I thought I knew this lady, and I guess I do. Okay. Linda is on the phone. Linda is watching on Channel 12 in Yorktown. Her date of birth is April 2nd, 1952. Linda, good morning. You're on the air with Mary Michele.
Hi, Mike.
Hello there. By the way, we have an open line, 241-1310. And Linda, you can ask your question now.
Okay, I guess it's career day because my question has to do with career also.
It does. Well, the sun's in Virgo right now, so everybody's a little concerned about what they're going to do, what kind of work. It's a perfectly normal thing. Okay, so April 4th, 1952, you have the sun in Aries, the moon in Leo. This is a very harmonious...
April 2nd.
Oh.
April 2nd, 1952.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
April 2nd. Okay, that changes the moon. So the moon is in Cancer. This is not as harmonious. The unconscious and the conscious both want to rule, and sometimes they disagree. Although the sun in Aries is in its own place, it's a very good place, or it's exalted, they say, in the sign of Aries. So it's your will is very strong, and your ability to nurture and take care of people is very strong. Are you a mother?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Do you have a job as well?
I have a job right now, but I was, looking for a better one, and I guess it's not that time of year to look for one then.
Oh, it is. It's a good time of year to look. The indication is, though, that you will probably have more success with finding work or, even going back to school and studying something to increase your potential with the work that you would be interested in doing towards the end of November. There's a beautiful aspect in the end of November involving many planets in the sign of Sagittarius, which is about higher learning and philosophy and all that kind of thing. So anyway, the indication is that you will probably either find what you want to do or find a job or go back to school towards the end of November.
And how does my luck look for the next few weeks?
Luck?
Luck, yeah.
Was there something you wanted to feel lucky about?
No, I was planning a trip to Atlantic City.
Oh, take me with you if you're going to win.
Well, this Mercury retrograde is going to cause upsets, and the upsets could be on the side of the casinos. I mean, they may be the ones that are losing for a change, although I think it's a little unlikely. But in general, fire signs like to take those risks, and I think it's a healthy thing for you to go and do that kind of thing. It allows you to let go of some of the extra energy that you have if you haven't taken up boxing, So it's either gambling, a little bit of gambling. Just don't spend more than you can afford.
Bet with your head.
Sorry?
Very good. Thanks a lot, Mary.
Thank you.
She said, bet with your head. I agree with you, Linda. Have a good day. We're going to get to the other 4 callers right after we talk to Jennifer. Jennifer is watching on cable channel 12, again from Yorktown. Date of birth is December 1st, 1970. 12/1/1970. Good morning, Jennifer. You're on with Mary Michele.
Yeah, hi. I'm just a little